Hello, hello, hello. We finally reached our destination, and that is Pulp, We Love Life. Their final album so far. I think it should remain their final album, released 22nd of October 2001. Wow, it's their greatest album. I really do think that. I think it's such a just getting out of the way. It's just a great record. We Love Life is just superb. It is superb. Produced by Scott Walker, who actually gets name checked. One of his albums gets name checked in bad colour version, which I think was a bit embarrassing for Jarvis Cocker because the lyrics were written before. They initially started the album with Chris Thomas producing, but they were trying to go for a bit more of an organic, natural feeling record, and it didn't work. And ended up with, like I say, Scott Walker producing instead. And that's what you get. This album it's a lot more open and a lot more, organic. It's not a hippie album. It's not Save the Trees. If you want to save the trees, again, there's an arch. Yeah. He's saying, you want to save the trees, but do you really? Anyway, opens with the track Weeds and Weeds 2, which are merged together. And it's, again, this is 21 years old. 21 years old. And I remember as if it was yesterday. Again, this is one of those albums I used to listen to a lot. Walking Alex, my dog. And, yeah. But yeah, Weeds. It's all about. It's a song about the topic of the time. It's a topic ever since. Immigration and people coming into this country, and but it frames those people as as being tough, as being harder. You've got to remember that these isles and we're a nation of immigrants anyway. Everyone came here. We were invaded and. Many times, and people have come via many persecutions, whether it be religious or political. There are many reasons why people have ended up on these fair isles. So it always makes me laugh when anti-immigration rhetoric is wheeled out. I'm of the mind it should be controlled because we are a small island and compared to say Europe, there's a landmass, and our infrastructure is rather depleted because successive governments, both Labour and Tory, have never invested in housing or the roads or God knows what else. But that's another point. I'm getting off. But yeah, it's a really good opening track, talking about the experience of people who come into the country. And this goes into Weeds 2, where Cocker brings in the idea of, it turns into like a drugs song, and about if we could market this thing. It's all talking about marijuana, cannabis. It's exotica. The idea of again cultures being imported in, and it's a really good opening for the album, and it's very striking. Because it's not like anything else the band has done, the opening track. Though the spoken kind of narration for Weeds 2, you've seen Cocker do that before. And then the third track, The Night That Minnie Simply Died, is a story song. Again, it's a celebration of life, even though it's a bit of a macabre song. Minnie Simply is a young girl who is loved and she's murdered, and it's the song of her missing potential and her vivaciousness, and it's a sad song but sung in such an elevated. It's one of those contradictory songs. It's not a miserable song, but it's a kind of a very powerful song about something very miserable and sad, and very powerful, a very powerful story song. One of Pulp's best. this is Up to the Trees. Now, again, Trees, again, for me, it's probably one of the weaker ones on the album. It's one of those songs that, excuse me, it kind of takes its riff from tracks like Whispering Grass. Go and look that one up. Lyrically, these are very similar, but as the refrain, the stupid trees, they make the air that I'm breathing. And it's a love song, isn't it? It's a song about unrequited love, and and there's a bit of that on this album again. But it was released as the opening single, and it kind of, that one didn't land I didn't enjoy it. I enjoy it more in the context of the album, but I do think it's probably one of the weaker tracks. Then we have Wicker Man, which brings in, again, it's another story song, and it talks about an area that Cocker's familiar with. They call the Wicker, and of course in the UK, and probably, well, I don't know, maybe around the world, you might be familiar with the film The Wicker Man. They actually incorporate a sample of Willow's song in the track, which is one of my favourites, which I've covered as part of my Bad Cover Version series. Bad Cover Version. I lifted the concept from this very album, and it's 8 minutes 17, and it's, again, this is the band at their most proggest. If you're a progressive rock fan, it's dark, it's deep, it's moody, and it tells a song of history and culture and of a time, and I find it fascinating. I think it's really, again, another immensely strong song. We flip the album over to I Love Life, not We Love Life, I Love Life, and again, it's a simple idea. We're all born to die, and we have one life, and sometimes we can forget just how precious it is and how we should fight for it. And it's, again, reading some of the interviews at the time, and what's been subsequently said about the record. The band, or Cocker, was again horrified by the 9/11, Twin Tower attack, and this is what this album was meant to be. It was meant to be a reaction to that, and a celebration. Their celebration of how precious life is. And then The Birds in Your Garden, which I find this an odd one, because again, if you listen to the lyrics, and it's about a fella, who wakes early, goes into the garden, and the birds are singing to him, and they encourage him to, go and make love to his partner who's asleep. And on one aspect, you can read it as being a romantic song. Do it before it's too late. Tell her that you love her before it's too late. Or you can see it as the guy being a little bit deranged, and the birds are speaking to him. Because that's for me, that's the duality of him. It's like, the birds made me do it. That's just my weird take on it. But again, I find it's a bit of a fun song. But this is followed by Bob Lind, The Only Way Is Down. Bob Lind is a musician, and they're referencing him with this title. And I just think it's another great lyric, and I love the tune, the descending pattern. Again, what you get here, again, with the production and the arrangements of the albums, the guitars allowed to, the guitars are more confident. The guitars are playing, melody lines and sympathetic lines, and everything feels a little bit more open. And this feels like a real, not that they're not a real band, but this is a very different band. They've moved on, they've changed, and you get it with this. And then we come to the beautiful Bad Cover Version, which again hits the video. Just go and watch the video, which features loads of lookalikes covering. They do like a pseudo Band-Aid recording with loads of lookalikes singing the songs, and it's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty and wonder, and it's because it's parodying Band-Aid, but it's also parodying the ideas that are in it. again, a bad cover version, is something that looks like a thing or sounds like a thing, but it's something else. Now, in the UK, in the 70s, there were many compilation albums. Pickwick and labels like that used to bring out like Top of the Pops and compilations like that, and you buy them. Or there was even like an ABBA one, I believe, and you think, oh, and you get it home and you listen to it and you think, this kind of sounds like the hits, but they weren't. They were played by cover bands, and they'd usually put a girl in a bikini on the cover to lure you in, but they weren't the actual bands, because of licensing it would have been more expensive. It's actually cheaper for them to actually get a cover band to do it, and that's where this concept comes from, the lyric comes from. But there's also the final lyric, about the later Tom and Jerry, when the both of them could speak. Planet of the Apes on TV, Last Days of South Fork, that's referring to the soap opera Dallas. All these cultural references hit, because I remember seeing Tom and Jerry when they spoke and was really, really irritated by it as a kid. And of course, an own brand box of cornflakes. There was nothing worse as a kid than your mum not getting Kellogg's, and they didn't have any Kellogg's in, so I've got your Sainsbury's cornflakes. And in those days there was a difference, there was a noticeable difference. Nowadays, supermarket own brand products, you can probably settle with them, but I remember that disappointment as a kid, and it's all put into that song. Again, all these songs just hit for me, boom 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 boom, and that leads us into Roadkill, which is again very melancholic track, and again, this death is peppered throughout this. Even though it's called We Love Life, this is about seeing a dead animal on the roadside and it being a kind of a portent of a relationship ending. And this is a very minor song, in terms of the music, but again, it's kind of ambiguous. You don't know why the relationship's ended. This death ended the relationship, and I like that. Cocker's not being up front with this one like he is with some of the others. There's a bit of mystery to it, and again, there's something that's a bit uncomfortable. There's a little bit of discomfort in this song. And then finally, we end with the epic Sunrise, which again, as somebody who's suffered with insomnia and would happily sleep through the day and be awake at night, it's just my body clock, this speaks to me, and I love the music of it. I think that the way it builds and fades, and again, it's somebody who reflects on their life. All my efforts seem pathetic, too piss poor, and I think you got me again. Again, such a strong song. I covered it myself. I'll have to put a link. I'll put a link in the description where you can listen to my version of Sunrise. And I love it that the Sunrise was used in the music for a animated TV comedy show called Monkey Dust. It was used in a sequence, one of my favourite sequences in that. Not again. These are obscure references. You come here for the obscure shit. You won't learn anything here. You'll just get me babbling on about obscure shit. But yeah, even though the album is 53 minutes 55, it holds my attention. Oh my goodness, this is one of those few albums that from beginning to the end, I don't skip. Even again, I say about The Trees, again, which references, which is kind of a riff on songs like Whispering Grass. I Talk to the Wind, even, those plaintive songs where the protagonist, is expressing themselves, but might as well talk to the dog's arse, which is my version of it. I'm gonna have to write that song one day. But yeah, the whole album just holds my interest, and I think as a final album, I think again it's this and His and Hers are the two bookends. In the middle, there's some good stuff, but I think as an artistic statement, it's got a level of maturity in both the lyrics and the playing and the delivery. Again, Cocker's voice is is decent on this. In some of his other performances, you do wonder if he's, you know, he gets the zone, he finds himself on this album. And again, I think the whole band are just absolutely wonderful. Everybody just, you know, it's great. And it's not necessarily a pop album either. Like I said, they've gone beyond that. And it's a shame because everyone's going to think of Different Class and Common People and songs like that. And you have this, which is a completely different side, and it kind of harks back in a weird way to their beginnings, where you had the acoustic, what they called, you know, folk, when they was doing the folk stuff with that It album. The band's kind of gone full circle because they've eschewed a lot of the electronica and a lot of the that brittle, harsh edge of their electronic sound, and gone back to, well, just to strumming guitars. So it's kind of, the circle is complete, but this time it's a much, blimey, light years ahead of it. If you listen to it in this back to back, completely different records, completely different skill sets. So yeah, for me, this is probably one of my favourite albums. You know, this could easily make one of my top fives if I have to make a list of things. It's an album that I do go back to. It's an album that I greatly enjoy, that nourishes me, that just hits all the right spots, that just, you know, it's that thing. It becomes, music can be very personal, and this one just doom, doom, doom. Again, from the, you know, I Love Life. You know, it just, everything in this just gets me. You know, it just resonates, just hits me. Yeah, there are exceptions to trees and birds in your garden, which again, because I've got this thing in my mind where it goes, the guy's mad, the birds are talking to him, because I'm taking it literally. So anyway, we'll have a look at the old vinyl. The sleeve itself is again designed by Peter Saville, and the engraving is taken from the St Bride Printing Library, and they were done in 1920, because you get these samples of engravings in these great big catalogues, and it's taken, you know, wood engravings. It's how they used to print back in the day. They used to do it in wood, and then, you know, cover it with ink with a roller and then press, and that's how that's where that came from. And it's a very striking visual image. And you got the lyrics there. Remember, never to read the lyrics whilst the songs are on. That's what they always warn you in the album sleeves. I like, but the best one, so you've got all these illustrative. Now the best one's really subtle. It's for bad cover version. It's this one. It's this little kid standing there. Look at the sign. It's just for bad cover version. That's where Ziggy played guitar. That's where the Ziggy Stardust cover was taken. Obviously, not quite the same angle, but I love it. Remember, Kanye West. I'm joking. Remember I said that Kanye was going to be bigger than Bowie because Bowie foretold it. So yeah, vinyl. The vinyl is just vinyl. It's just black. It's thick and black and 12 inches, just how you like it. So yeah, I've prattled on about a truly great record. Again, Pulp's We Love Life. I love this. Perfection. Absolute perfection. It truly is. So that's it. We came to the end. Hopefully, I mean, this is one of the few instances I hope they never make another album, because I don't think they can top We Love Life. I really don't. And I think, again, in 100 years, no one will care. But if people are still listening to music in 100 years, I think this album will be celebrated the right way. I don't think it gets enough praise. You know, again, because everyone thinks back to the heady days of Britpop, and you know, very few bands, you know, deliver, you know, from that era, from the Britpop era, deliver something as strong as this. You know, I won't mention, I mean, Radiohead, they're not really Britpop, you know, they just existed in that time, but they were constantly reinventing. But take up like what Blur were doing. No, it's nothing compared to, you know, they were doing Stink Tank, and we got this. Anyway, that's it. I've burbled on a lot. Enough. I've irritated you enough. And thanks for watching. I don't know where we're going next. Really, I should do Roxy again. I know I did them before, but the Great Purge and everything. because Pulp and Roxy are kind of like that. But I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Is there one more thing I have to say? By now you should know what that is, and that is ta-da.